Welcome to Showing Up Anyway, the podcast for people who are not perfect. On this show, we talk about intuitive eating, fitness without obsession, and healing your relationship with food and your body. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Showing Up Anyway. I'm so glad you're here with me, and I thought I would start this week by asking you a question. If weight loss was not a guarantee on this journey, would you still want to do it? Would you still bother exercising and eating well and prioritizing sleep and working on your relationship with food and all that stuff if the number on the scale might not change? That question got asked in my group training call that I host with all my clients each week. And I thought it would really make the perfect topic for today. We were talking about weekly challenges, and one client said they were nervous about moving away from strict calorie counting towards a more intuitive eating approach. She said, I'm really struggling with still wanting the scale to move. And so I asked, well, first of all, why are you weighing yourself? Why is that number important to you? And she said, well, because people ask me, my parents, my doctors. And then she elaborated and said, I'm trying not to count calories. I'm just trying to listen to my body. But how do you trust yourself that you're going to do things the right way and not put on weight? And before I tell you my response, let me just say this. It is not unusual for weight loss to slow down when you stop restricting your calories as much and start eating more intuitively, okay? Your priority here is to build a healthier relationship with food, and often that means eating enough, maybe more than you had been before, honoring your hunger and letting go of rigid rules. Sometimes, because we're still reducing the amount of times that you overeat and things like that, it can lead to weight loss. But it's almost never going to happen as quickly as it would as if you were strictly counting calories, okay? That's just how it works. So anyway, I responded by asking her about the things that have changed. I asked, are you still binge eating often? She said, no. I said, are you spending most days sitting and inactive like you used to? She said, no. I said, is your relationship with food better than it was a year ago? She said, yeah. And so I told her, you are doing things right. And as we continued talking about it, it became pretty clear that she has a hard time, as a lot of people do, with being happy about her results if weight loss isn't part of that equation. And hey, listen, I get that. I totally do. We live in a world that says if you don't look like Barbie or Ken, you're not good enough. Society constantly is glamorizing thinness and demonizes not just obesity, but even mid-sized bodies. And it might be pressure from parents, friends, doctors, from social media, movies, TV, I don't know. But I do know that losing weight does not automatically make you happy. You think it will, but I've been there. And I know others who have too. And I promise that if you don't do the hard mental work to start loving yourself now and along this journey, you're just going to find new things to pick apart. If losing weight meant that you immediately started loving everything about you and meant that other people love you more too, well then damn, I wouldn't even bother with this relationship with food nonsense because your happiness is my priority. But it's not that easy. And what I told this client was the solution to being happy in your body is learning to be fucking happy. It's not changing it in the hopes of being accepted or loved or noticed. It's learning to be comfortable and confident in your own skin, no matter what that skin looks like at that present moment. Now, let's talk about the title of this episode, okay? Because I chose it thinking that some of you would hear what I'm saying, the message of this episode, and think, well, if I'm not going to lose weight, why the hell am I doing all this? Why am I exercising and trying to change my eating habits and building a better relationship with food and movement and making sleep a priority and drinking water and all this healthy stuff that's hard? Why? If weight loss might not even happen, what's it all for? It's for you. It's because if you zoom out and look at the big picture, this journey is about so much more than a number on a scale. It's about more than tracking calories every single day. It's about more than fitting into a smaller pair of pants. It's about building a better quality of life and a body that you feel comfortable in, even when the scale doesn't do what you want it to do. We've already done a whole episode on non-scale victories, so I don't need to go over that again. Go listen to that episode if you want to learn about ways that your body and your life can be changing outside of just weight loss. But if you are frustrated with where you're at right now and you've had a hard time seeing any change, even though you've been working on this for a while, I want you to ask yourself if you would change places with the person that you were 3 months, 6 months, 3 years ago when you first started. If you wouldn't, then you've been making progress. The habits that you're building are not going to change your life overnight, okay? It can be painfully slow and at times feel like nothing is happening at all. But if you keep going, one day it will dawn on you that your entire life feels different. Not just because your weight changed, but because you treated yourself differently day after day. And those small changes, those atomic habits, compound. They're the reason that you're going to feel clearer and brighter and stronger. Why your body can say yes to doing more of the things that it loves to do. Why your mind can say yes to peace and self-love. All of that is the payoff. So if the scale doesn't create happiness, what does? I suppose it's a little bit different for everybody, but I think there's a good argument that it is built in the daily choices and the mindset shifts that create the life that you actually want to live. And there are a few pillars that I think happiness is built on, okay? Self-respect is at the top of that list. For example, when you keep promises to yourself and you speak kindly to yourself when you make a mistake, self-respect means walking away from situations or people that diminish you. It's the choice to remove yourself from environments where you feel unseen or disrespected or pressured to shrink who you are physically or emotionally. It's honoring your worth by refusing to settle for less. The second one that came to mind is the stability of consistent routines and habits. I know I talk about this so fucking much, but it's true, okay? Balanced meals, movement that you enjoy, set times for rest. It takes the guesswork out of self-care, which is something that we usually struggle with anyway. When you have an established set of routines and habits, you're not constantly negotiating with yourself on whether or not you should do something that makes you feel good, okay? They simply are part of the flow of your day. It makes everything much easier. Another one is well-placed boundaries. Boundaries protect your time, your energy, your mental space. They can be as simple as saying no to extra commitment when you're already stretched too thin, stepping away from diet-focused conversations. It's closing your laptop and saying those work emails can wait, so that you can give yourself space to recover because you know that rest is what allows you to show up fully tomorrow. And these are just a few. I'm sure you can think of a lot of other universal contributors to happiness. Strong, meaningful connections, belonging and support, a sense of purpose, time in nature, making space for play, the list goes on. But in order to keep these values alive, it helps to anchor your day with a few simple self-checks. I want you to ask yourself 4 questions. Today, did I eat in a way that supports the life that I want to live? Did I move in a way that felt good for my body and my mood? Did I rest when I needed it? And did I speak to myself with respect? These questions are really effective because they are things that are almost always completely within your control. And I hope that they can help you shift your focus from chasing a number to building a life that is grounded in care. Because that care for your body, for yourself, has the power to transform your experience in this life, whether your weight changes or not. But this is where it gets tricky, because even when we know that these changes are valuable, outside voices make us doubt that they're enough. So I'll remind you, as one of those outside voices that you like to listen to, I hope, that these habits you're building are not consolation prizes. They are the foundation of feeling better and living longer. Ask any diabetic if they'd rather be thin with diabetes or the same weight without it, and most would probably choose health. Ask someone with chronic joint pain if they would rather be pain-free or wear a smaller clothing size. They'll probably choose to be pain-free. Ask someone with chronic fatigue if they would rather have more energy or weigh less, and most are probably going to choose energy. The good news is, in most cases, you don't have to choose one or the other. The same daily actions that protect your health, eating regular balanced meals, moving your body in ways that feels good, getting enough rest, managing stress, speaking to yourself with kindness, can also support physical changes over time. It is possible to lose weight without improving your relationship or building those other habits, okay? But you're not going to get those deeper benefits. But on the flip side, if you focus on those habits first, then you get all those deeper benefits, and weight change can also happen, but it becomes an added bonus rather than the whole point. When you build these kinds of habits, you are anchoring your health into something that is steady and real. Weight change might also happen, or it might not, but either way, you have now created a life where your body says yes to more of what you love and your mind says yes to more peace. And personally, I'd take that 10 out of 10 times. There will always be people telling us how we should look and what we should be doing, and it's hard to deal with that, especially when those voices are coming from people who are supposed to love and accept us no matter what, okay? I know the pressure of wanting desperately to change what you look like. But the kind of acceptance and peace that you're searching for does not start with the scale. I'm sure you've probably experienced it. Even when you lose weight, it's never enough for some people, right? No, the acceptance and peace that you're searching for is in the small choices that you make every single day. It's how you eat, how you move, how you rest, how you speak to yourself, even when no one else is around. You don't need their approval to be happy. And in fact, your happiness is going to feel a lot more real, a lot more steady when it's built on your own terms. I hope this far into the podcast, I've convinced you that taking care of yourself is not selfish, right? We can agree that it's not a luxury, it's a need. Well, self-acceptance works the same way. If your worth is tied to a number that fluctuates day to day, then your sense of worth, your sense of value is going to do the same thing. It should not go up and down as frequently as the scale does. How are you going to ever truly be happy if that's the case? When you decide that your well-being matters, no matter what the scale says, you stop walking that fucking tightrope. And my God, when you step off that, what a sense of relief you feel. That's where you're going to find real happiness. Now, if you heard all that and you still want to lose weight, that's okay. Okay? I'm not trying to dissuade you from that. Really, if we're being honest, the harsh reality is that the society we live in is not built for fat bodies. That's a conversation we probably should have in another episode, okay? We can talk a lot about that. But everything is harder when you're fat. Traveling, entertainment, medical care, clothes shopping, social spaces, work environments, so many things are not size inclusive. And that's really unfortunate. But some of you are doing this because you want to improve your health. And there is research that shows that even modest weight changes can improve certain health markers like lowering your blood pressure, cholesterol levels, improving blood sugar control, easing joint pain, lowering risk of things like sleep apnea. Taking on this journey because you want to lose weight does not make you less committed or less authentic than someone who's just doing this because they really want to make better habits, okay? All that I want you to take away from this is that weight loss doesn't need to be the most important and the only goal. I just thought about something that I tell probably every person that I talk to about training at this point, and that is that there are really two strong extreme beliefs on a wellness journey like this, okay? And one is don't even try to change anything about your body. You are perfectly fine just the way that you are. You should accept everything and never want to make a change. And the other is you should do whatever it takes to lose weight, no matter the cost. I think that we can find a happy medium, a place where we can want to make some changes. We can also learn to love ourselves along the way. Here's what I want you to remember, okay? The purpose of this is to create a life that feels good to live, one where you have the energy to get through the day with ease, to have a body that can carry you through the things that you love without holding you back, where your mind feels calmer and more resilient and less critical, and a mindset where you feel at a minimum neutral, but at some point maybe even positive about your body. When you care for yourself consistently, you build a foundation that will serve you no matter what the scale says. Keep showing up. Keep making choices that honor your body and mind. Keep doing the work that makes your life feel more like yours. That is the point. That is what it's all for. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Showing Up Anyway. You can find it for free on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And wherever you're listening, if you like the show, I'd love it if you gave me a 5-star review because that does help other people find the show. And hopefully it'll help change their life just like you're looking to change yours. If you're listening on Spotify, though, you can follow me and tap the bell icon so you get notifications when new episodes come out. I'm Coach Adam. Remember, when things get challenging, keep showing up anyway.